I would like to call our City Council Committee of the Whole meeting for Tuesday, July 2nd, 2019 to order. At this time, for our moment of silence, I had the opportunity for a young man about 8 years old who came to my office today with his mom, interested in, he actually had questions about the trade tariffs with China, and he also had questions about what it would take for him to run for student council for his third grade class at his school. And I think we're going to meet in a minute. We have Aiden and Alana Marr, who's going to join me up here for the Pledge of Allegiance, but also Amelia and Anders are here learning more about what we do and about the government system that we run. And especially this is even more important as we head into the Independence Day next couple of days, and how important so many people have given their lives to be able to sit in these rooms, to make their vote, to speak what they need to speak. And we're delighted to have them and all of you here. So with that, a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. And before I'm going to ask Alderman Kluhl to lead us in the pledge, if I would have Aiden and Alana come and join me up here, they'll go with us to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, Elena, come back here a minute. Oh, Dad, you want a picture? With all facing this direction? We'll do that. Here, one of you get on this side. You get on this side. There we go. You're very welcome. And also, as the kids go back to their seat, I want to thank Colonel Steve Marr, who's the garrison commander at the Rock Island Arsenal, for the exciting support they're providing us for the holiday ceremonies over the next couple days, and for your service, and how great it is to work with you and your family. Would I turn now, please? Brian, would you call the roll, please?
Ambrose.
Here.
Condon.
Here.
Rawson.
Here.
Dickman.
Here.
Tompkins.
Here.
Grip.
Here.
McGinnis.
Here.
Kluhl.
Here.
Matson.
Here.
And Dunn.
Here.
10 present, Your Honor.
Thank you, Brian. And again, I want to wish you a good evening. And as we begin this meeting of our City Council, I would again want to welcome everyone, those in attendance, and also those who are viewing the meeting on television or on the internet. We respectfully welcome your comments and opinions, and please keep in mind that as you talk to the Council, you are also sharing your thoughts with fellow Davenporters and with viewers throughout the region by way of our internet broadcast. We are happy you are participating in your city government and ask that your participation reflect the common desire we all share to make Davenport an even greater place for all of our citizens. For the children, adults, seniors, and families in our community, those in attendance, and those watching on their computers, I again thank you for joining us. At this time, I ask that you turn off or silence your cell phones and other electronic handheld devices, as they can be disruptive and interfere with the audio here in the chambers. If you wish to address the Council on a specific item that appears on a committee agenda, you are encouraged to do so during that standing committee. You will also have an opportunity to address the City Council under Public with Business portion of the meeting, which will occur toward the end. When addressing the Council, I ask that you step to the podium, wait to be recognized by myself or the committee chair, and speak to the Council as a body and not to any single member. We will ask that you limit your remarks to no more than 5 minutes. I ask that everyone observe, and I know you all will, the commonly accepted rules of courtesy, decorum, dignity, and good taste. So again, thank you very much for being here. Our next item, is there a city administrator update this evening?
2 quick things this evening, Your Honor. Related to Red, White, and Boom, tomorrow evening, parking in the ramps will be free from 5 p.m. to midnight to support the event, knowing that parking downtown is still limited. And secondly, as you're aware, we launched Davenport Dream yesterday, the Davenport Dream Project. As of about 3 this afternoon, we had 65 inquiries through the website, 8 appointments already scheduled, and 6 formal applications received. So the program is off launching well, and we look forward to continuing to work with the community on this.
Thank you. And I want to thank all of our aldermanic staff, but also the city staff, and for Corey and her leadership for pulling this together. This is another generation of efforts to encourage people to move to our city, but also urban revitalization. So thank you very much. We have one public hearing this evening, and that's under Public Works, and Alderman Dunn will conduct that public hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have one public hearing this evening for Public Works. I open the public hearing on the plan specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Riverfront Turf Replacement Project due to flood damage. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this public hearing? Seeing none, I move to close the public hearing. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. This public hearing is closed, and that concludes.
Thank you, Alderman Dunn. We have no presentations this evening, but we'll move to petitions and communications from the council members and myself. We're going to start with Alderman Marion McGinnis, who is our Chair of Public Engagement. Alderman McGinnis.
Thank you, Your Honor. A couple of things, again, about Red, White, and Boom. Starts at 9:30. Davenport viewing areas are a little different this year. The best place is probably Modern Woodman Park, and admission is free there. Parking is free of charge on city streets and at the Floyd Keene and River's Edge parking lots and the lot at Marquette and River Drive. And as the ramps are free, as we've heard. There is no parking in Centennial Park, but the park itself is open, and there is a parking lot at Marquette and River Drive. The Sky Bridge will be closed due to repairs. You can also go to Arsenal Island for viewing. There may be some ID requirements there, or you can join our neighbors across the Mississippi at Schwiebert Park in Rock Island. So that's all, and I hope everybody can come out tomorrow night and really enjoy it. So the next thing, mark your calendars, Thursday, July 11th, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Our next party in the park is at Peterson Park at West Central Park Avenue. This is our third event. It's food, entertainment, fun for the kids, and it's all free, and we've been having a great time at these events. So whether you live near Peterson or not, please join us for this. Coming up next week, did you know Mississippi River mussels are natural filters for pollutants in the river, and their numbers can directly relate to how healthy our river system is. So you can find out more about this at July's Partners of the Scott County Watershed presentations. There'll be 2 on Tuesday, July 9th, with Joe Jordan of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The first presentation is 12 to 1 at the Davenport Library, the Eastern Branch at 6000 Eastern Avenue, and the second is 5 to 6 p.m. at the Bluegrass Presbyterian Church, 325 Lott Street in Bluegrass. I'm happy to announce that the Davenport Motor Row and Industrial District, which is a district down on East 2nd Street, there, the area that we had some challenges a few weeks ago, has been listed on the National Register, and it was listed on June 27, 2019. Now, what does this mean? It means that buildings in that area will be eligible for more easily, perhaps, to apply for historic tax credits for rehabilitation purposes. So that just happened. This was an effort, really, of the Davenport Downtown Partnership. So congratulations to them and to the city for another historic district in downtown. Finally, third ward meeting will be Saturday, July 13th, so not this Saturday, but the next, at Cedar Memorial Christian Church at 10 a.m., and Sarah Ott will be visiting with us to talk about the Davenport Dream Project. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman McGinnis. Before I go on to our next Alderman Mattson, but I want to thank you again. Congratulations on the parties in the park. There was a number of us that were involved in that, but you have really taken a leadership role with staff, Tiffany and Samantha, but all the city staff have been involved. They get more and more people there every week, and there's people finding out where the next one is, and they're going to all of them. So thank you very much for your efforts. It truly is making a difference. Our next is Alderman Mattson, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to say thanks to the air show. Thousands of people, huge crowds, very successful, so I hope they keep coming back. And then a thanks to Davenport Central High School's baseball team and North Scott's baseball team for the third year in a row, They take time out of their schedule at the beginning, one game every year, and recognize veterans both in the Davenport area and the Eldridge area and recognize them before the game. So there's a huge crowd this year, and it's become bigger and bigger. So thanks, and a great shout out to the sportsmanship and working together between Davenport Central and North Scott. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman Mattson. Alderman Ambrose.
Thank you, Hunter. First off, the great news is there's going to be a Fourth Ward meeting July 9th at the Fairmont Library. It'll start at 6 o'clock. We're going to discuss the DREAM program and other programs that can help people to revitalize their neighborhoods. And we'll also have staff there to talk about an update on all our public works projects in the area and take requests for pothole repairs. So that should be an exciting meeting. And I want to thank Brandon Wright, who worked so hard to get the sign repaired on Division Street at February. It looks like it's getting real close now, Brandon. Will we have a ribbon cutting when that is completed? Thanks.
Thank you, Alderman Ambrose. Alderman Rossin.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to give a shout out to Taste of Ethiopia. I was down there this afternoon hanging out a little bit at the restaurant. They are cooking up a storm. If you haven't seen anything posted on Nextdoor, they are open today, a soft opening. Started at 5 o'clock. Note the time, it's 5:40. Running till 9 p.m. this evening, so if you haven't had a chance to try them out, please do. They're located right nestled between the Freight House and Union Station. It's that little building that was formerly Package Express. And when the floods came through, their renovations were shut down for that entire period. So they are excited to be open today. So if you are hungry and want to stop in, they're open till 9 o'clock this evening. This is their soft opening. They'll have a grand opening later. But the owners were in there cooking furiously. The inside looks beautiful, and the food smelled wonderful. So that's where you can head for dinner after council this evening. Thanks.
Thank you, Alderman Rossin. Alderman Tompkins.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to thank staff. We have some construction work going on 46th and Fillmore, and when I came back, I was gone last week, and came back, and there was some huge signs up, so you couldn't miss it, that you knew that there was some work going on ahead. So thank you so much. That is huge. People have commented on it, so great communication, much appreciated, and it's definitely helped as people had to rearrange and reroute some of their directions. So thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Tompkins. I want to give a quick, again, to follow up on Alderman Matson's comments related to the air show. It was a tremendous turnout of people, a very diverse group of people, and it was really exciting to see all those folks come together, and it was quite the show. Even with 2 headphones on, my 6-year-old grandson thought it was a little loud, but beyond that, it was really a great time out there. I want to also echo Alderman Rossin. The Taste of Ethiopia, I've gotten to know the folks for some time, well before they got to this point, and with 4 Ethiopian American grandchildren, it's been great for them to get a sense of their country of origin originally, and they're a wonderful couple, and it's a great American story of how they've come and built that restaurant. Also, we talk a lot about the protection and the support, and more importantly, the support that we're giving to our businesses downtown. Let's not forget them now that they're back in operation. I was fortunate to have lunch today with that young man I was talking about who wants to deal with the tariff issues in China. Took him to lunch at Half Nelson, he and his mom. And also Low Pies just opened. They had their soft opening and now their grand opening. There's a lot of great destination restaurants, and I think we ought to make sure we go down and frequent those. And lastly, I just wanted to mention next Tuesday at 4 o'clock, from 4 to 5:30, we will have our first flood task force meeting, and it goes from 4 to 5:30 in the community room at the police department. We'll sending out more information as we move forward, but it's a great cross-section of folks in our community that will be coming together to take a look at a variety of issues which we'll be discussing as that unveils and comes forward. So thank you all for all of that. And now we're going to move on to our first area, action items for discussion. Our first area is community development, and Alderman Rossin will lead that discussion, and Alderman Ambrose will set the agenda.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 3 items on the community development agenda this evening. First item is a resolution setting a public hearing on the proposed conveyance of the vacated public right-of-way known as the east-west portion of Crestline Drive, located west of the north-south alley, lying west of Marlowe Avenue. 2950 Crestline LLC is a petitioner. Anyone from the public would like to comment on this item? Anyone from council? Alderman Klool?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of curiosities. First is, how do we go about determining the value of 3,000 square foot? of property. How does that happen? And while the wheels are turning, a second question would be, why don't we include that in the agendas, that amount?
Well, we could add it, sure. Certainly, we'll take a look at that. The reason that, or how we go about determining the price, we have a property manager who works out in Public Works who looks at comparable sales around the parcel in question and comes up with a square foot price.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I could understand a property, but when you're talking about a previously used public road, I just wondered how you make that assessment. But it's
Well,
just a curiosity.
My understanding on this particular one is it's never been used as a public road. It was platted but never improved.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else from council? Seeing and hearing no one, this item will move on. Second item, resolution setting a public hearing on the proposed conveyance of the vacated public right-of-way known as a portion of Forest Grove Court. Multiple abutting property owners who are the petitioners. Anyone from the public would like to comment on this item? Anyone from council? Alderman Cluel.
Again,
You're welcome.
that's very kind of you. Thank you. I just wanted to thank our city engineer, Brian Schatt, for working on this deal, this property transfer, and making sure that the property is transferred in good order. I appreciate that. It creates for good public relations.
Thank you, Alderman Cluel. You're up again on item 3 as well. If you heads up. Anyone else from council? Seeing and hearing no one, this item will move on. The last item is a motion authorizing Mayor Klipsch to sign the loan documents related to the Lindsay Park Yacht Club dredging project. First, I'll have Steve come up. Steve Ahrens. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Council, Mayor. Steve Ahrens with the Riverfront Improvement Commission. Just a couple comments, and then I'm going to introduce the Vice Commodore of the Lindsay Park Yacht Club to provide some more detailed comments at the request of Alderman Ambrose. The Lindsay Park Yacht Club is a city tenant managed through the Riverfront Improvement Commission. It manages the adjacent harbor, which from time to time maintenance dredging is required. And when that's the case, they need to secure a loan, a note, in order to accomplish that. Essentially because the documents that date back to 1966 have the Corps of Engineers charged with that, and we're working with them to ensure that that happens with more frequency, but up until now it's usually a funding issue, even though that on paper it's part of their responsibilities. So, but because this is city property, both the Riverfront Improvement Commission as well as the City of Davenport are signatories on the necessary loan documents, which is why we're here today. At the last meeting of the Riverfront Improvement Commission on Tuesday, we approved these documents, and so then the City Council now needs to authorize the mayor to add his signature to it. With that, I'd like to introduce retired Colonel Dan Darland, who's the Vice Commodore of the Lindsay Park Yacht Club, to provide a very brief presentation. Thank you.
Do I control the sun? Full screen. There you go, Madam Chair, Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the council. I was asked to give a little bit of a history and really who we are at Lindsay Park Yacht Club while you guys consider the motion to help us get the funding to continue to maintain the property. So as some background for some history, this all started, well, 141 years ago tomorrow. with the development of the Davenport Boat Club. So that's our predecessor. Right down here off of Main Street, and with some property off of the foot of Scott Street, which would now be the band shell, and LeClaire Park. So as you can see by the names on there, some pretty prominent people in our history, and in a way, I feel those are the people that I'm trying to not let down as I sit on the board now. Later in 1931, the Davenport Boat Club disbanded, but having anticipated that, Lindsay Park Holding Club organized in 1929 and was located at the foot of McClellan Boulevard, and was then incorporated about 88 years ago. And great timing, that turns out to be also when Locking Dam 15 was built, which then raised the pool level, and they had to move. The federal government also put in the interceptor and seawall that I'm sure you're all familiar with. And so they moved now to our current location at the foot of Mound Street. Prior to the harbor being built, boats were just tied up to mooring anchors along the river's edge, all the way from Mound Street to the north towards, to the east towards McClellan Boulevard. And in 1946, because of an act working its way through Congress to build small harbors, the chamber proposed for the harbor to be built. In 1958, the Corps announced that it would be built, and in 1961 it was completed. And so it was an agreement between the federal government and the city of Davenport, and this is a document here that did that. The last part, the bottom there that you can't read, the eye test I have here, which is equally as hard to read, is the completion document. So it says the harbor is authorized in 1950 as a feature of the Upper Mississippi River front river 9-foot channel project to accommodate recreational vehicles and other small boat craft. It is on the west bank of the Mississippi River near the upstream limits of Davenport, Iowa, 1.2 miles upstream from Locking Dam 15. It uses a rock breakwater enclosure, accommodates 200 vessels, which it's not that number now, and the harbor depth is 5 feet. The harbor was built in 1961 as a federal, at a federal cost of $262,000. Local interest is required to operate the project, so that's what the city does with us as the management. And the last half of the last sentence says, with federal government performing periodic maintenance dredging. So that's the Corps of Engineers completion document, and that's what's not happening. So this is just, again, from a history standpoint, the top slide was the original proposed harbor. And of a couple things of note, you see the kick out on this wall and the overlap of the wall. That's to keep the water from eddying and carrying silt into the harbor, and that's what causes the need for dredging. That's not how it ended up being designed, which is the lower picture. And also it's a much larger area that our harbor is actually about this little area right here. The lower picture is as constructed, which shows an opening here upstream as well as the main entrance here. This later, as you'll see in a picture, ends up getting closed off with the at some point, but that's now where the channel cat is. So that decreases the water flow through here, which also increases the eddy action and the sediment falling out. So in 1966, it's finally changed to Lindsay Park Yacht Club. There was some consideration at that time to expand the harbor itself, which is interesting because I didn't know that until I was doing this history a couple days ago. And I've talked to Steve about still wanting to increase the size of the harbor itself, the protected area. So the interesting note is, a year after the flood of 1965, instead of going, maybe this is something we shouldn't be tackling, the actual thought was, this is something we need to do even bigger and better. So I found that kind of interesting. This is how we sit today. 118 permanent boat slots, 116 that are slips, and these 2 here that are dock style. Also with areas inside the fence here with boats on cradles, and inside the barn and boats on cradles that we lower through here. A problem again with the dredging is we can't get the lift down all the way to actually launch the boat. I'd also like to note that you can see here where these piers, this is actually Pier 4, 5, and 6, are newer and nicer looking. They've been redone since the original construction. And then you see some that are showing some wear. And again, that's because we're having to spend our money on dredging as opposed to maintaining the marina itself. How do we sit today? In 2018, we elected our first female Commodore. Not our first board member, but the first that became Commodore, and that's Christy Ellenberg, and she is one of 9 board members. We ended last season with 308 members, half of which are social members. That means you don't have to have a boat. You can just be a social member at the club, come down and enjoy the club. Sometimes I think they're the smarter ones. They go out on boat rides with other people who spend their money on their boat. So that's important. So if you're not a member, any members? You know, the mayor of Bettendorf is a member. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Membership is $385. That's a buck a day, right? Slip fees range from $11.70 for an uncovered small slip up to $3,300 for a covered large slip. We are currently dredging right now because we have to. Others are spots we'd probably be walking on, and which is costing us a little over $200,000. So we are spending, again, the slip rental money on maintaining the harbor as opposed to maintaining the marina. And if you understand the difference, the harbor is just a safe, protected body of water, while the marina is the full operations and everything. So that's what's hurting us. It's not really sustainable. So meanwhile, we're doing that. We are installing some new railings, trying to spruce the place up and improve the safety at the same time. The flood of this year. Members, myself and a couple other board members and another club member, we actually maintained all the piers, the cabling, the chains, and everything, which is very expensive. All the years past, they've outsourced that, so to try to save us money, to help do the other things that we need to do. We spent a great deal of time and did ourselves, and it worked out very well. They made it through the flood intact. There are some damages, and we're working with insurance on that. The restaurant itself, the club, was not impacted by the flood other than having to be closed for a period of time. And we did lose our boat motor and the transformer for the boat motor and the pulley for the boat lift. Here are some flood pictures I just thought I'd show you if you haven't seen them. Somewhere right through here, there's actually a wall. That tree, that's a tree sitting on the wall, so that helps. There's a single garage door right here, so if you were to stay in there, like Steve and I were earlier today, you would need a very long snorkel. And again, this would be the wall. You can see the wall where the water changes the look. That's right where the break, and this is the opening to the harbor. So right here is a very severe eddy, and that's what brings the silt into the marina, into the harbor. The seawall, which is usually above water. And you probably recognize this as the entrance to the Channel Cat. And that's what I have for a presentation. Your Honor, I appreciate the letter you wrote to our representatives. We had started working with the local representatives of our 2 senators and our House Representative. So I appreciate the city picking up on that as well. So that's what I put together. Are there any further questions on who we are and what we do? It is a member-only club. However, we do have several events, like when the Navy Band was there Tuesday of last week, that is open to the public. We do that quite often. We will allow people to come in who aren't members and experience it and dine a few times and try to make a decision. So we try to be very open that way. But in order to keep our non-for-profit status, we have to be member-only.
I just want a couple things for clarification before I open it up to public with comment. You mentioned that you're currently paying $200,000 a year for some dredging just to, that's not doing the full job clearly, because the quote in the packet is $475. How long have you been doing that?
We're paying $200,000 currently this year to do dredging.
Okay, but not
It
in the
hasn't
years
been dredged
prior?
Since 2011.
Okay. Has there been a cost analysis done of what would be the benefit of actually building the harbor appropriately to prevent silt versus continuing on our current course?
Ma'am, one of the things we're asked the Corps to do in this letter is for them to do a study, a computer study on redesigning the harbor entrance like was originally proposed in 1961 to determine that itself, right?
Okay.
So we have not done that independently.
Okay. I'll have you go ahead and sit down. I'll open it up for public and then council. Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on this item? Maybe not. If you're still there, you might want to hold for a second because I'm going to open up for council. I have a couple of people on council. Alderman Mattson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I don't know, sir, if you'll take it, or maybe Mr. Wright, you'll take it. So loan documents, and then, sir, you said help with funding. If someone could please tell, are you asking us to fund it, co-sign it?
It's the code sign. We're taking on a line of credit
Okay.
that we then service, and that's been our history. We take out a loan or line of credit and service that loan just as the owners of the property. You guys have to co-sign it.
So you're just asking us to co-sign it.
Yes.
And what communication with the Corps have you done to ask them to do this?
I
Since
have.
it's their responsibility.
Yes, sir. I've talked to the operations officer there myself, and we've also, again, I talked through Senator Ernst and Senator Grassi's office and Representative Lobsack's office, and they've contacted the Corps and gotten back to me, and the same answer they get is the answer that I got was, yes, we know we're responsible for it. We don't have any money to do it.
Well, they have okay, that's
So
That's humorous
the
to me.
binder that I provided, the Riverfront Improvement Commission has all that information, including their budget and the amount of money they have for O&M and the amount of money they have specifically for the Upper Mississippi River and her tributaries. There's money available. It just takes someone to push them to spend it.
Thank you.
Alderman Ambrose.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Great presentation. We'll get a lot of people, not only on the council, but that work for the city and in our community that, aren't aware of it except to maybe ride their bike by it and observe it. But what a long history they've had with our community and the challenges that you're dealing with. So very informative, and I want to thank you for taking the time and putting on such a great presentation.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I may, for a moment. Yeah, I just want to mention, I did had a good discussion with Colonel Steve Sattinger, who is the the commander for the Corps of Engineers on the Arsenal prior to sending the letter, to make sure that he knew background of what we were doing. He was agree with that. He wholeheartedly supported us sending the letter as moving it forward. I think one of the things I found with all the flood issues going on, they have 800 personnel that are currently deployed working with flood issues, so that changed some of it. I know we're waiting for some more analysis as well, so hopefully after some of those issues can be put to bed, we can find the funding that we need to get this job done.
Thank you, sir.
And there's no one else on council, but just two items. How often does the harbor need to be dredged?
Well, in great part, that depends on the river.
Okay,
so
give me a
when-
range.
Well, it was done in 2011. It probably should have been done last year.
Okay.
It was done in 2001 and 8, so it's probably in a 6 to 7 year cycle.
So the Corps of Engineers could actually get it in their budget because they have at least a 5-year lead time. So
Yes, ma'am.
that should be done. So the other, just a side question, since we did have this flood event this season, is there any way, and maybe staff can answer this, or you might be able to, of using some flood reimbursement funds to help cover this? Anybody?
We're pursuing every angle, and there's also some things we'd like to do. My understanding that typically 6 months or so after an event such as this, mitigation money comes out, and so maybe perchance what the city wants to do with the Channel Cat walkway and redoing that. If now we could redo that, but raise it and basically provide a taller break upstream of the harbor. So perhaps some mitigation money. So these are all things that we're looking at, but I probably don't have the finite answer.
Okay. It seems like we need a solution, and the Corps needs to step up as well, because $475,000 every 6 years, that's not a good plan.
It's not sustainable.
That's correct. I see that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, Alderman Matson.
Thanks for another time. Just quickly, Mr. Wright, are you good with you cool? You guys good with this, or have you a review, or you can tell us next week, or give us some good review by next week? Thank you.
So on the flood mitigation, please know that the FEMA money is tied directly to the flood mitigation plan that Bi-State does. So if it's not in that plan already or done during the update, it would have to wait for other update cycles.
Thanks for the clarification. Alderman Klool.
Just in terms of leaving no muscle unturned, I'm wondering, there's a project going on upstream from you. I wonder if there's any attribution to that.
We looked at that. We even implied that may have caused some of the issues. We reached out to the DOT again through Joe and John, the senator's representatives here locally, and the response back was what they did to prevent it from happening and that it should not have contributed to it. We did ask Iowa American Water for the turbidity or solids analysis of their raw water, and it was really no different last year than previous years. It was higher this year so far, but with 3 crusts in the top 10, that probably would attribute to that. So it's hard. It would be hard to pin that on them. I understand they didn't keep all their silt curtains in place as we thought they were required to do, and we were given notice as boaters not to boat on the side channels because of their silt curtains. However, it took about a couple of weeks and the silt curtains were gone and not replaced. But again, Iowa American Water is the only analytical data we have, and that would suggest it'd be hard to pin it on them. But intuitively, it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm glad you explored it anyway.
We did.
All right, thank you. Seeing no one else, you can go ahead and sit down, sir. Thank you. So I'm going to assume we'll hear some updates from staff, Steve, Aarons, or somebody on this topic going forward. Do I have a nod from anybody? Steve? All right. So this item will move on, and I would ask Alderman Ambrose to set an agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. All items on the consent agenda.
Is there a second? There's been a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, same sign. And we're back to you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman Russin and Alderman Ambrose. Our second area to be discussed is public safety. Alderman Grip will lead that discussion, and Alderman Dickman will set the agenda.
Thank you, Your Honor. Item number 1 is a resolution closing various streets, lanes, or public grounds on the listed dates to hold outdoor events. I'll read through all of these closings and then ask for public comment at the end. Hope at Brick House Neighborhood Block Party, 1431 Ripley Street, Friday, July 12th, 2019, and Friday, August 9th, 2019, 5 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Closure Ripley Street between West 14th Street and West 15th Street. Dwayne Hodges, second annual Save Our Streets, 306 Cedar Street, Saturday, July 20th, 2019, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Closure Cedar Street from West 3rd Street to West 4th Street. Cornbelt Running Club, Big 7 events, Brady Street Sprints, Thursday, July 25th, 2019, 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Closure, Brady Street from 5th Street to 11th Street. Junior Big 7, Friday, July 26th, 2019, 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Closure, East 4th Street from Pershing Avenue to River Drive, East 3rd Street from Pershing Avenue to River Drive, Iowa Street from East 3rd Street to East 4th Street, LeClaire Street from East 3rd Street to East 4th Street. Bic 7 and Quick Bic, Saturday, July 27th, 2019, 5:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. Closure, Brady Street from River Drive to Kirkwood Boulevard, eastbound Kirkwood Boulevard from Brady Street to Jersey Ridge Road, Jersey Ridge Road from Kirkwood Boulevard to Middle Road from Kirkwood Boulevard to McClellan Boulevard, McClellan Boulevard from Middle Road to River Drive, East 4th Street from Brady Street to River Drive, East 3rd Street from Brady Street to River Drive, East 3rd Street from Iowa Street to River Drive, closed beginning at 3 p.m. on Friday, July 26th to set up the finish line. East 15th Street from Brady Street to Perry Street. LeClaire Street from East 2nd Street to East 3rd Street, noon on Friday, July 26th through noon on Saturday, July 27th. And if all of that sounded tiring, you should try reading it. All right, Andy Lank, Bix Food Smash Up, 300 West 3rd Street, Bix Weekend closures, Friday, 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. North Parking Lane and Northernmost Travel Lane in front of Carriage House and Kilkenny's. 3rd Street will be closed entirely after 9 p.m. Friday, reopened for Bix traffic Saturday, July 26th from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m., and then closed entirely until 2 a.m. And the westernmost parking lot and 2 travel lanes on Harrison Street from the alley north of Kilkenny's to West 3rd Street, Saturday approximately 12 p.m. to Sunday 2 a.m. West 3rd Street from Ripley Street to Harrison Street, and the westernmost parking lane and 2 travel lanes on Harrison from the alley north of Kilkenny's to West 3rd Street. Note that this is pending IDOT approval. And finally, Sasha Rowland, Max Bix Fest Party, 316 and 318 West 3rd Street, Bix Weekend closure, Thursday, July 25th, 2019, 12 p.m. to Sunday, July 28th, 2019, 2 a.m. North Parking Lane and Northernmost Travel Lane in front of Max. 3rd Street will be closed entirely after 9 p.m. Friday, reopened for Bix traffic Saturday, July 26th from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. and then closed entirely until 2 a.m. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on any of these street closures? And from council, Alderwoman Dickman.
Thank you for giving me a chance to speak here. I wanted to point out the 2nd annual Save Our Streets event that was originally done last year in response to a string of some unpleasantness going on with our teenagers, and they really showcased a lot of the people who are doing good in the community, who are giving young people alternatives to going out and potentially doing things that are harmful to each other in our streets. So I really encourage everyone to go check it out. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman Dickman. Alderman Dunn.
Thank you, Your Honor. Do we normally close all of 3rd Street? And is public safety okay with that?
I know they leave a lane open for emergency vehicles. So they'll leave the middle lane open.
Alderwoman Rawson.
Yes, so I'd already talked to staff, but I'm repeating this for the public and colleagues just in case someone else might be thinking the same thing. I had a resident talk to me about special events that happen outside of like normal holiday events like the 4th of July, where it might be a wedding where they might have a fireworks display. And the question was whether or not we require them to send out a notice to residents, let's say if they have that event in a park or someplace close to residential. So there was just some question as far as that used to be in our policies as to whether or not it's still consistent. So if we could just have some follow-up that we talked about a little bit earlier on that, just for everyone's edification, that would be great.
Seeing no one else, these items will move on. Item number 2, resolution closing various streets, lanes, or public grounds on the listed dates to hold outdoor events. Andrew Kaufman, Oak Street Block Party, 4415 Oak Street, Thursday, July 4th, 2019, 1 p.m. to 11 p.m. closure. Oak Street between West 43rd Street and West 45th Street. There is a motion to suspend the rules and vote later on this agenda. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on item number 2? Anyone from the council? This item will move on. Item number 3 is a motion approving noise variance requests for various events on the listed dates and times. Dwayne Hodges, 2nd Annual Save Our Streets, 306 Cedar Street, Saturday, July 20th, 2019, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Outdoor music and band over 50 dBA. Andy Lank, Bix Food Smash Up, 300 West 3rd Street, Friday, July 26, 2019, 4 p.m. to midnight, and Saturday, July 27th, 2019, 10 a.m. to midnight, outdoor music band over 50 dBA. Sasha Rowland, Max Bix Fest Party, 316 and 318 West 3rd Street, Friday, July 26th, 2019, 4 p.m. to midnight, and Saturday, July 27th, 2019, 12 p.m. to midnight, outdoor music band over 50 dBA. Tara Elkins, Dam View Bix Party, 410 East 2nd Street, Saturday, July 27th, 2019, 8 a.m. to midnight, outdoor music band over 50 dBA. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on any of these noise variance requests? Anyone from the council? Seeing no one, these items will move on. Item number 4 is a motion approving beer and liquor license applications. Section A is new license, new owner, temporary permit, temporary outdoor area, location transfer, etc. Dam View Inn, 410 East 2nd Street, extended outdoor area, July 26th through the 28th, 2019. Bix Bash, license type C, liquor. Kilkenny's Pub and Eatery, 300 West 3rd Street, outdoor area, July 26th through the 28th, 2019. Bix Food Smash Up, license type C, liquor. Max Tavern, 316 West 3rd Street, outdoor area, July 25th through the 28th, 2019. Bix Fest, license type C, liquor. The Office, 116 West 3rd Street, outdoor area, July 26th through the 28th, 2019. Bix, license type C, liquor. Viva Quad Cities, Inc., 400 West Beiderbecke Drive, outdoor area, September 7th, 2019. License type C, liquor. Our Lady of Victory Church of Davenport, Iowa, 1627 West 42nd Street, outdoor area, September 21st, 2019. Parish Fall Festival, license type B, beer. Vans Pizza Pub and Grill, 3333 North Harrison Street, new owner license, outdoor area, license type C, liquor. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on any of those items? Anyone from the council? Seeing no one, those items will move on. We do not read Section B, but they're listed in your packet for your information. And I would ask that Alderwoman Dickman set the agenda for public safety.
I move that all items be placed on consent except for the item that will be voted on later in this agenda.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That concludes public safety this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman Grip and Alderman Dickman. Just for the Mar children, as we're going through every one of these items, it's important to get an understanding that anything that goes on gets an opportunity for the public to participate. We read through every item. Those that have no discussion, they'll move on next week. When he talked about those will move on to the consent agenda, meaning without any discussion this week, we'll approve all those in one vote next week. And I just give you an idea, we make sure all the things that we talk about, everybody gets a chance to participate in the city. So just to give you a little bit of upgrade. Our next area for discussion is Public Works. Alderman Dunn will lead the discussion, and Alderman Condon will set the agenda.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 11 items on the agenda this evening. Item number 1 is a resolution approving the plan, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Riverfront Turf Replacement Project due to flood damage. And before I ask for comment, can we have someone from staff come up and give us an overview, please?
Chad Dyson, Parks and Recreation Director. This project is basically the restoration of the roughly 379,000 square feet of turf area east of Modern Woodman Park down to the roller dam south of the tracks that was damaged due to the flood. So within this project, we have 2 alternates. We have an alternate for sod and one for seed. And depending on price and environmental factors will sort of determine which way we go in awarding these bids.
Thanks, Chad. Is there anyone from public wishing to address this item?
Good evening. Dale Gilmore, 6th Ward. The funding for this project, does this come out of general fund, insurance, FEMA, shoebox in the backyard, or where's the money for this funding coming from? Thank you.
Brandon?
Brandon Wright, CFO and Assistant City Administrator. Good question. The city has a flood fund that is set up to pay for the costs related to flood events. We have $600,000 in there on an annual basis. That's kind of what we keep in there. Obviously, it's not going to be enough this year to pay for all of the damage that was done. We'll need to replenish that fund over time. So we'll work during the budgeting process to make sure that we're doing that for each year for the fiscal year closeout. We'll add money to that fund. We'll also plan for increasing the reserves over time to that fund. In addition to that, obviously, we will be putting this in our request to FEMA for reimbursement on that part as well. So any cost that we have on the reimbursement from the federal government side will reduce the city's contribution over time. It will just be, until we know for sure that we're getting that money, we'll be using the flood fund to pay for those costs.
Thanks, Brandon. Anyone else from the public? Council, Alderman Ambrose.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I've been around the last time we resodded it, and I've also been around when they've seeded it. We're probably not going to see any activity down on that area this year, correct?
Sorry, should have stayed up.
Any of our activity
Right.
events?
So if we go the seed route, it's highly unlikely because it'll take longer to grow in, obviously. If we sod, there's still an opportunity to have some late or early to late fall events down on the riverfront. So
So the last time they sodded has probably been 15 years. It was $100,000 to have it sodded, and I think when they aerated it and seeded it, substantially less. So we're talking quite a bit of difference, and I guess, you know, if we can bring it in by having it seeded and shut down the events for the rest of the year, that's probably the best way to go. And I was kind of thinking maybe we should just clear it out and bring in some sand and make it a beach. You know, we'd have the only beach on the Mississippi River where we can have events.
good to know.
Thanks.
Thank you, Alderman Ambrose. Alderman Mattson.
So, Mr. Wright, to clarify, so the flood fund, so it's budgeted, that money, and so then you'll use that and then you'll reimburse or try and request reimbursement from FEMA.
Correct. Yeah. Think of it more as a sinking fund that we have, kind of a rainy day fund set up for floods. And so there's money in that account.
We have that.
And we'll just use it. Correct. Exactly. Yes.
And then you'll try and reimburse it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alderman McGinnis.
Thank you, Alderman Dunn. Yeah, I had some questions about this as well earlier today and contacted staff. And, you know, one of the things also they pointed out was the fact that we have more green space now on our riverfront than we did. It's not all concrete, which is great. I think we'd all prefer to have a park with grass than the hardscape. And so, you know, that's certainly adding to it. You know, it's if you look at I did some little math. That's $1.25 a square foot, which is pretty. If you look at the number of square feet in an acre, and it's 8.7 acres. That's a huge amount of. That would be a huge lawn to reseed. So I know to replant. So I know it's a lot of money, but I'm glad to see that we're turning it back to a soft surface and a more natural surface than we have, and hopefully we won't have grass that sits with water on it for 100 days next year, which was also certainly a factor in having to deal with this. So I appreciate staff's help today answering my questions.
Thank you, Alderman McGinnis. Alderman Tompkins.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank Brandon for having that account and planning ahead for us. Unfortunately, we went through it, I have no doubt, and then some this year, but thank you for doing that. And I just thought I'd throw out there, if anybody or company wanted to donate to take care of that fee, hey, you just never know. So I'm just throwing it out there in case somebody wants to write us a check. We'll be happy to take that. So thanks.
Thank you, Alderman Tompkins. Seeing no one else, this item will move on. Item number 2 is a resolution accepting the FY 2018-2019 Civic Access ADA Ramp Improvement Program completed by McDermott Concrete LLC of Bluegrass, Iowa. This project was completed with a final contract amount of $245,924.52. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council. Alderman Dickman.
Thank you for giving me a chance here. I think I just wanted to note really quickly that I think that this helps with walkability in our neighborhoods, not just for those who need accessibility, but just for general use. So I think this is a great step that the city's taking.
Thank you, Alderman Dickman. Seeing no one else, this item will move on. Item number 3 is a resolution approving the change order number 4 to Midturn Incorporated not to exceed $100,000 for bridge maintenance project. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 4 is a resolution to award a contract to 4 contractors for the FY20 sewer lateral repair program in the amount of $900,000. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 5 is a resolution awarding a contract for the North Lincoln Avenue reconstruction from Locust Street to Central Park Avenue project to McCarthy Improvement Company of Davenport, Iowa, in the amount of $789,213.35. Before I ask for comment, can we have someone from staff come up and give us an overview of this project?
Clay Merritt, Public Works. So this project is scheduled to start construction activities immediately following the Mississippi Valley Fair. So it was specifically written in the contract that work would not start, close to or when the fair is going on. So it should be, I believe, August 5th is that first day. And Brian Shad will be at the Fourth Ward meeting to discuss this with the residents if they have any concerns about any of the traffic going on through construction.
As far as notification?
Notifications, we'll try to do the exact same thing we did with 46th Street. We'll put signage out all over multiple locations. We'll use all of our communication platforms to reach out to the residents well ahead of time.
Perfect. Thank you, Clay.
Yes, sir.
Anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 6 is a resolution awarding the contract for the 100 block of East 3rd Street streetscaping project to Emery Construction Group Incorporated of Moline, Illinois, in the amount of $198,988.65. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 7 is a resolution awarding the FY20 Civic Access ADA Ramp Program to McDermott Concrete LLC of Bluegrass, Iowa, in the amount not to exceed $350,000. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 8 is a resolution awarding the contract for the purchase and installation of video board and ribbon board replacement at Modern Woodman Park to Peerless Industries, doing business as Peerless AV of Aurora, Illinois, in the amount of $411,924. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 9 is a resolution ordering in sidewalks related to the FY20 sidewalk construction program. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 10 is a motion approving change order number 8 to Langman Construction in the amount not to exceed $50,000 with 90% funded by the FAA grant for the Davenport Municipal Airport Runway 1533 reconstruction project. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. And item number 11 is a motion accepting the Miracle Field of the Quad City Stadium lighting completed by Ardent Lighting Group LLC of Knoxville, Iowa, in the amount of $66,504. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Alderman Grip.
So Director Dyson, so I've been watching the progress of Miracle Field, and it was put way behind by our wet spring, and I think the report Clay sent out last week or this week was July 15th. Are we on track for July 15th, and then is there going to be an event or ceremony for the opening of the park that we can expect to see soon?
The surfacing company is scheduled to be on site next week, start work on the 8th. We are probably no longer on target for July 15th, more likely beginning of August. We are tentatively planning a ribbon cutting in conjunction with the September 5th Party in the Park event. That'll be held at Prairie Heights Park, at least the formal ribbon cutting. But once the project is completed and the surface is the last portion, minus putting some of the furnishings, bleachers, and things like that in, we'll do a soft opening, play some games with Challenger League out there, and welcome the public to utilize the field.
Is their season end the middle of September? Is that?
It ends, their summer season ends the end of July, but they are planning a fall season.
Okay.
So
that
we're working with Bill Sweeney and his group to get some games out there.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderman Grip. Anyone else? Seeing none, this item will move on. Alderman Conan, would you set the agenda, please?
Yeah, Thank you. I move to put all items on consent.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda has been set, and this concludes Public Works for this evening. Back to you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman Dunn and Alderman Condon. Our last area to be discussed is finance. Alderman Mattson will lead that discussion, and Alderman Kloul will set the agenda.
Thank you, Your Honor. Finance discussion, 5 items. First one is a third consideration of an ordinance granting to Mid-American Energy Company, its successors, and assigns the right and non-exclusive franchise to acquire, construct, direct, maintain, and operate in the city of Davenport, Iowa, a natural gas system, and to furnish and sell natural gas to the city and its inhabitants, and authorizing the city to collect franchise fees for a period of 25 years. Is there anyone from the public like to comment? Council. Very good. Number 2 is a third consideration of an ordinance granting to Mid-American Energy Company its successors and assigns the right and non-exclusive franchise to acquire, construct, direct, maintain, and operate in the city of Davenport, Iowa, an electric system and its communications facilities, and to furnish and sell electric energy to the city and its inhabitants, and authorizing the city to collect franchise fees for a period of 25 years. Anyone from the public to comment on this? Council. Very good. Number 3 is a resolution setting a public hearing authorizing the city to sell city-owned parcels Echo 0014-12 and Echo 0014-13, both along the 1400 block of Christie Street. Willis and Renee Simmons are petitioners. Anyone from the public like to comment? Council. Very good. Item 4, resolution awarding a 3-year contract with an option of 2 one-year extensions for the third-party administration of employee health insurance benefits to UMR, Inc. of Wausau, Wisconsin, and authorizing the Human Resources Director to sign any related agreements. Anyone from the public like to comment? Council. Very good. And last item 5, resolution awarding a 3-year contract with the option of 2 one-year extensions for prescription benefit management to Script Care, Ltd. of Beaumont, Texas, and authorizing the Human Resources Director to sign any related agreements. Anyone from the public like to comment? Council. Very good. And then the last area is purchases of $10,000 to $15,000. There are a bunch, so feel free to read those and question your city administrator if you'd like to. And then with that, I'll ask Alderman Kloul to set an agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that all items move forward to discussion.
There's a motion to move all to consent.
Wait a minute. He said he meant
This is 2 weeks in a row. I move that all items move forward to consent.
That's what I heard.
That's
There's a
what he heard.
motion to move all items to consent. My hearing's different, right? There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Back to you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman Mattson and Alderman Kloul. We have one other issue to deal with tonight. Is there a motion for suspension of the rules to vote on the following item? It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Grip,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Kloul,
Yes.
Mattson,
Yeah.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ambrose, Condon,
Yes.
Rawson,
Yes.
Dickman,
Yes.
and Tompkins.
Yes.
10 yeses, Your Honor.
Thank you. This resolution is for closing various streets, lanes, public grounds on the listed dates to hold outdoor events. That is Andrew Kaufman, Oak Street Block Party, 4415 Oak Street, Thursday, July 4, 2019, from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m. Closure Oak Street between West 43rd Street and West 45th Street. Is there any public with comment on that issue? Seeing none, will an alderman move the resolution? Any discussion? Seeing none, Brian, would you call the roll, please?
McGinnis,
Yes.
Kloul,
Yes.
Mattson,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ambrose, Condon,
Yes.
Rawson,
Yes.
Dickman,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Yes.
and Grip.
Yes.
10 yeses, Your Honor.
Thank you. That resolution has been adopted. Is there any public with business this evening? Seeing none, are there any other reports of city officials? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned, and thank you to the Marr family for attending. And all of you as well.